This is today's project. Changed out the battery and then end up finding out that this needs to be replaced. It's cracked. So that's gonna be my project today.
Alright, so anytime you do any project, make sure that the item matches the old item. So before you uninstall anything, just make sure this is the same air intake hose that's already installed in your car. I see that got this valve here. This is where the sensor goes. Clamps, put the clamps on here. Looks like everything matches, so let's get started. That is what I need to change. Again, change out the battery this morning, and then notice that there was a crack, like right about here. There's a crack on there, and from what I've seen or noticed, that this is a common problem with these type of cars. 2001 Mazda Protege, so it's fairly old, so it's bound to happen. So I'll be changing this out today. All right, so what you're gonna need is a 10mm socket. This is what I have right here. I have an extension also, so that way I can reach in there. And I tested out. I think you need 10mm for that screw right there, and then one sensor, and then another screw right there.
Alright, at this point, I realized using the extension wasn't a great idea. I didn't really have good leverage, so I'm taking off the extension, and I'm just going to put the 10mm socket back on, and we're going to try this again. It still was a little tight, but I was able to loosen the bolt here.
Let's try the flathead screwdriver right here. See if I can pry this out. Push it out.
Alright, at this point, I just went ahead and ripped off the tube because it was coming off already. So I figured I have a better leverage of getting the hose off.
All right, there it is. So don't forget, we need to take this off. Don't break this off. So let's see if we can.
All right, here it is. It's ripped off. Here are the clamps. This right here, the tubing will go in here, so don't forget to clamp this back onto the tubing. This, don't bend this, but I'm gonna try to take this off. Gotta wear gloves now because I kind of stabbed my finger. Yeah, this right here is a little hard to get off, so I gotta figure out what I need to do to get this off easier. I don't know if I need to put WD-40 or what, but it's pretty stuck on there. So yeah. Right, so I finally got it off. That was a hell. So again, it was right in there. Just use channel locks, pliers, and then I gotta wiggle, pull out as much as you can. But here it is. This is junk. Gotta reuse the clamps. Here is the new air intake hose. As usual, you just do everything in reverse. So since this was my last thing that I took off, I'm gonna go ahead and put this as the first thing I'm gonna install. Oh, look at that, it just slid right in with ease. All right, now let's get this back together. All right, here's the clamp. Put this back on there. Just make sure that it goes all the way to this top rubber stump looking thing, and then you're going to want to clamp it, tighten up the clamp as soon as you're on here. It's just gonna squeeze everything together and make sure it's tight.
All right, let's see if this is easy to put back together. Alright, just double checking just to make sure that the bottom is actually clamping on the bottom of the air intake hose. And then just slide this one on here. There we go. Trying to get that one wire to clamp onto that one groove that I showed you earlier. There we go. Clamped in there. Then you got your tube right here. Slide this back on here. Okay. Make sure it's nice and snug. Then just gotta unscrew this part. Make sure I don't drop it. That would suck. Just take your time. Back in there and screw it back together. Alright, so let's tighten up the clamp that's back here.
Alright, so that took a little bit. So as I was taking off this clamp earlier, this little piece fell somewhere in there and then dropped to the, in the engine compartment, and I had to look for it. Because for one, I didn't want it to ruin anything in the engine. Two, I didn't want to go to the store and get another one to clamp these together. So I found it, so that's good news. So let's get back to the installation.
I'm taking this back off so that way I can put the clamp back on. Alright, so I put that washer back on here, so that way I can put the clamp over this. I put a cloth right here just in case this washer ends up falling again. I'll have something to catch it. Alright, so the clamp is on. Now let's just put this back on. Let's tighten up a little bit more, just so that way I know it's not gonna fall anywhere. Why is it not going on? Do I need to loosen now? It was going on so smoothly earlier.
Again, I don't know why it's not sliding in now, so I gotta figure this out.
And it's not even tight. It slid in so smoothly earlier. There we go. What the heck? Something was catching it. All right. Let's go ahead and tighten this up. Make sure it's nice and snug. That's on there. Clamp. Just double checking everything. Okay, this is tight. That clamp is tight. I put the tube back into this valve. This is back on here. Okay, everything seems to be good to go. right.
That's it. So last thing I need to do is just make sure that all my tools are picked up, and got to get that cloth out of there. See if go for a test drive. Like I said, just make sure all the tools are gone, picked up. I typically have habits of putting everything up here, so there's no tools up there. So like I said, this is the clamp. This is the washer that fell somewhere down in there. Luckily I found it. And that is the other clamp. Again, these are all 10 millimeters, so just make sure you guys get that in your toolbox. So I just pretty much had to work on this one, that clamp, and this clamp right here. And that should be good to go. All right, so that is pretty much it. Again, this type of installation is fairly easy. It took me a little bit because I had to try to look for that darn washer that fell somewhere down there. But overall, I think this is probably a 15 to 20 minute job. Again, depending how stuck these air intake hose is to the engine compartment there. That's it. All right, so doing one more round of check to see if I left any tools. Good to go. No tools there, no tools there. All right. Again, I have a habit of leaving tools behind, so I'm just double checking this time around. And that is pretty much it. Hope this helps.
If you made it this far in the video, make sure you guys subscribe and like this video, and leave me a comment and let me know how I did with this installation.